Hi, this is Alex Friedrich, your microeconomics instructor. Today I'm going to take you on a quick tour of our class's D2L site so that you know where to go when you need something. What you're seeing right here is the home page, which is probably the first thing you'll see once you jump on. And then you'll probably go to this little waffle widget here, call up our economics class, and here we are at sort of the main page. Now, the bulk of what we need is going to be right here under materials called content. I'll click on that. And this is pretty much what you'll see here. This is sort of the guts of the course. Now what I want you to focus on is right here, the table of contents. This tells you everything you need to know right here. And we're going to talk about MindTap instructions in just a few minutes. Take a look at the welcome, the overview. Okay, this will kind of give you a little overview of the course, tell you a little bit about me and the course itself, give you some study tips, how to succeed in this class, that sort of thing. So just go ahead and take a look at that if you're interested. Here's the syllabus. Now the syllabus has basically two parts. You've got the main syllabus, which is what you'll see right here if you clip on it. And this has got like 12 pages or so. It's got all the main stuff in there. Pretty exhaustive. Go ahead and take a look at that, but I realize you guys don't have a whole lot of time. So what I've put together is a little summary of the syllabus, a one-page executive summary, which kind of goes over all the most important stuff, or at least the most commonly asked about items right here. It's just one page, won't take you any time at all to read it. Go ahead and use that so for day-to-day stuff. And if you want, you can always use the syllabus itself as sort of a reference guide. It'll be up there online all semester long. So over here you've got instructions for essays. Now each week we'll be doing an essay. I'll tell you just a little bit about that a little bit later. These are the instructions, kind of tell you kind of how to write them, what the main requirements are, the types of news sources you should be using, things like that. As well as a points rubric which tells you kind of what it takes to get a certain number of points on the essays. You go back over here to the table of contents, you'll see also an orientation quiz. This is just a quiz that you can take. I should have it up the first couple of weeks or so. You can take it as much as you want until you get a perfect score. It's basically a quiz on the main stuff in the syllabus so that you understand some of the most important policies I have. So go ahead and take that. You will be graded on it. But again, you can take it as many times as you want until you get a perfect score. I just want to make sure that you read at least the executive summary of the syllabus and kind of know what's in there. So the main stuff, the main homework that you'll be dealing with is right here in MindTap. This is the online homework system that also has a lot of really cool resources. You can find out about that once you get inside. But right here, you've got the main link which you'll be using to connect to it. This is what will get you there. And then here, you will find video instructions on how to register. You'll get a PDF document, kind of step-by-step how to set it up. I haven't had too many people have any problems with this, so you should be good to go. But let me know if you're having any repeated problems with this. If you do have problems, you have some support links. You can either email or you can call in. So try this first before you come to me. But I'll be, I'm limited in what I can do, but I'll do my best to help you out. Now, the main part of the course is sort of based here on each weekly module that you see here. It goes all the way down to week 16. So it's week 1, chapter 1, week 2, chapter 2, that sort of thing, and as well as the title of the chapter or chapters that we're covering. And that also tells you the Monday on which it starts. So first thing to know, if you're not quite sure what to do each week, although you'll find that there's going to be a pattern each week, take a look at this. It's going to say read this first, week 1. It's basically like a schedule of all the stuff or a list of all the things you have to do. Now don't freak out. This is a bunch of stuff only because it's the first week. And it'll tell you all the stuff that you'll need to do in terms of getting situated and oriented and set up and all that stuff. And it'll also go into the actual work that you're going to have to do. Now notice some stuff is in red. It says graded right here. Other stuff's not. So the stuff that you'll actually be graded on, the actual work, is going to be labeled like this. Everything else is stuff you should be doing, but it doesn't necessarily have a grade attached to it. Now notice this stuff looks like a lot, but most of these things will just take you a few minutes each, so it's not all that much work. It just looks like a lot. That said, I know you're going to be busy, it's going to be confusing, having so many classes to juggle, so you're going to have 2 weeks to handle all this stuff. So just don't let it pile up at the very end. Try to get cracking as soon as you can. But again, this should be at the top. One of these things, it'll say read this first week 2, read this first week 3. It'll be at the top of each module, and you can use that to figure out what you need to do. Now, the next part of each module is going to be, for example, some slides. These will be basically slides that I include from my lecture to kind of give you an idea of what you'd be seeing if we were actually sitting face-to-face in a class. Now, what you'll also have here are a bunch of videos. Now, notice this one right here has Chapter 1 next to it. Any of the videos that have a chapter right before it are basically a video a bit longer, could be 30, 45 minutes or so, that will kind of walk you through those slides that I have. These are essentially other instructors giving lectures using the slides, or at least most of the slides I would be using. Now, the slides that I use up here are based on this set used here, but I leave some out. I add a few others. I change it up to suit my style. But generally, this is going to be the closest thing you have to a lecture based directly on the book. All right, so if you're into that, go ahead and do it. You'll find a lot of these other videos that I have, and I got a bunch of them, they're all from YouTube, are going to be either rather technical to kind of help you figure out charts and graphs and things and some of the math problems, or they're going to be essentially sort of background information that'll help flesh out either the big picture of those economic concepts for that week, or we'll talk about individual concepts and flesh them out. So again, they're usually maybe a bit more general, but they are good background. They're usually pretty slick, and there's some nice uses of multimedia in there. So you might want to go ahead and take a look at those. And all in all, this will count as sort of your class time, your lecture time in class. So feel free to take a look at as many of those as you need. I've often done multiple videos or included multiple videos on the same subject just so you get different types of voices. Some may click better for you than others. It's not 100% overlap necessarily, but it's, I think, close enough. Now, also because the author didn't create all these videos, they sometimes might use, say, terminology that's a bit different from what you'll find in the book, or they'll cover areas that the book doesn't. So I've tried my best to offer only those videos that have overlap on the book that overlaps pretty well. But in many cases, it's good to get a little more context about the subject. So go ahead and watch the videos in full if you'd like. Now, whatever you do, though, I would suggest that you take a look, when you take a look at a video, take a look at some of the descriptions, some of the notes that I make on these things. For example, right here, I might go ahead and talk about a group of videos or an individual video, and I'll say, hey, you're going to hear some terminology, you're not familiar with it. If it uses this word, that means that in our book. So I'll sort of translate it. Or I'll say, don't worry about this particular part of the video or this concept or this word. We're not going to use it. They've included it, but you can go ahead and just ignore it. And I'll also have sometimes little notes saying, hey, start this video at the 1 minute 15 second mark and go to the 4 minute and 35 second mark. So that'll help you focus on just the most important stuff, and you can not have to watch stuff that may be potentially confusing. So watch for that, and go ahead and look at them in whatever order you'd like, whatever works for you. But again, this one right here, the one with the little chapter part right here, is going to be the one that is closest to the actual material. But remember, all in all, when it comes down to homework and when it comes down to the exam, you're going to be tested essentially on what's in the book. All right. So these don't have 100% overlap. When in doubt, rely on the book. But generally speaking, don't worry about it. If anything's confusing, if you're not quite sure what's going on, feel free to ask me. And here again, the essay. This is sort of the essay section. If I haven't mentioned it before, you're going to be given a scenario or some instructions. Go ahead, write up the little essay, deposit it in here. Here's your deadlines. Everything is there for you to see. Now, if you happen to have any questions about what's going on, I would suggest that you go here to communications and you've got discussions. All right. Here's where you can ask questions about the class, the policies and things like that. And here's where you can ask about individual assignments and concepts that you may find confusing. Now, I suggest you monitor this, kind of check in at least once a day. Sometimes these things are full of people commenting and asking questions. Sometimes there's not. But if you do find that someone's asked a question and you know the answer, go ahead and put it there, because this is a chance for people to learn from their classmates. I'll be monitoring this, and it helps if somebody goes ahead and answers it. Or say if you ask it, no one else knows it, I'll go ahead and put a little comment there. It just helps me from having to potentially send out 15 different emails to 15 different people who ask the same question. This is just a much more efficient way of handling it. But again, if something's really, really tricky, you still don't understand, no one's able to help you, feel free to contact me and I'll do my best to help you. Let's go back here to content. I wanted to show you just a couple more things or so. If you want to take a look here, you'll notice that you've got two exams that you'll be taking. One is the midterm exam, and the other one way at the bottom is the final exam. Both pretty much have the same sort of format. And if you take a look here, when it opens up for you, and again, all the deadlines and the opening and the closing periods are going to be on D2L. You've got the midterm here, but I also have included something called studied topics, which is basically some slides. This is what I do in class. Basically a list of the most important things you need to know from each chapter. All right, I don't lay the actual test out in front of you, but I do give you a pretty good idea of the most important things to study for so that you can focus on the most important stuff and use your time wisely. Finally, if you want to see your grades, go here to grades and you will see everything here. You'll have your exams and you'll have your homework and you'll have your essays. It's all basically going to be there. So that's the bulk of it. Okay. So again, I'm here to help and I'm here to answer whatever questions you have. Try to work together to do things efficiently in terms of posting things on the discussion panel. But if you can't get any help, just email me your question and I'll either answer it by email or give you a call if it requires a lot of explanation. Just remember that I'm here for you and I'm going to help you any way I can. So, first thing to do, just to kind of wrap up, all right? First thing to do, go ahead, please, and I'm going to need you to go here. And by noon this Friday, you're going to have this week 1 essay in. Notice January 12th at 12 p.m. That's noon. It's just an icebreaker, very easy. Tell me about yourself. Just kind of follow these guidelines. Tell me about your career. What do you do? Why are you taking economics? Things like that. It helps me understand your thinking a little better and gives you a chance to tell me a little bit about yourself, as including any special conditions, any problems you might be having that I need to know about as the semester goes on. And then once you're done with that, go ahead and just start with read this first, week 1. And that should tell you everything you need to know. That's essentially it. Thanks a lot. I'm looking forward to hearing from you, hearing your comments, reading your essays, seeing how well you're doing. And again, if you have any questions whatsoever, go ahead and contact me. Take care and good luck on the semester.